Mic check, 1, 2. This is what? Yeah. I'm
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
I call the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure to order. This is probably the third time I've said this in the last month, but I think this is the last markup. But we shall see. We have next week. I think we're coming back, but I do think it's the last one. So, again, I want to thank all the staff and all the members for all their efforts over the years. Also, I'd like to recognize and acknowledge the GSA Public Buildings Commissioner, Dan Matthews, is here today to make sure we do our job so he can do his job. Dan, it's good to see you. Well, pursuant to the committee Rule 5F and House Rule 112H4, the chair may postpone further proceedings today on any questions of approving any measure or matter or adopting any amendment which a recorded vote or the yeas and nays are ordered. And without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess at any time. Today, the committee will consider General Service Administration's capital investment and leasing program resolutions. This package of resolutions will be our only item for consideration. I ask unanimous consent to call up the resolutions in block, and they be considered as read and open to amendment at any point. Without objection, so ordered. Today, we are considering 4 resolutions approving 2 construction, 1 lease, and 1 alteration prospectus proposed in the GSA's capital investment and leasing programs. I want to thank the subcommittee for their work on these resolutions and for continuing to push for cost savings and space reductions and providing space for federal agencies. Over the last 6 years, the committee has saved the American taxpayers more than $4 billion. I urge approval of these resolutions in block, and I now recognize Mr. Mass to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are considering 4 GSA resolutions, including 2 new courthouses, 1 seismic repair and alteration project, and 1 lease. These resolutions will create additional long-term savings of $44 million to the U.S. taxpayer, adding to the $4.4 billion we've already saved over the last 3 Congresses. I urge my colleagues to approve the GSA resolutions en bloc.
I thank the gentleman. Now recognize Subcommittee Ranking Member Titus for a statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also support the 4 General Services Administration resolutions that authorize new construction, alteration, and leasing actions. Today's resolutions represent a concerted effort by the committee to encourage this administration, as we've done with past administrations, to consolidate government workers in a government-owned space and require federal judges to share courtrooms wherever it's possible. We'll move forward with approving these resolutions, but I expect to work closely with my colleagues to conduct real oversight of all of GSA's real estate activities next year, including the Trump International Hotel here in Washington and the acquisition of the new FBI headquarters in the National Capital Region. Thank you, and I yield back.
I thank the gentlelady. Any members wish to be heard? Seeing none, we will now consider the resolution for amendments. Seeing none, I recognize Mr. Mass for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the 4 committee resolutions be approved en bloc.
The question is on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed signify by saying nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to. The resolutions are approved. I ask unanimous consent that the staff be authorized to make all necessary technical clarifying conforming changes to each of the resolutions ordered reported today and to reflect actions of the committee. Without objection, so ordered. Pursuant to Rule 5 of the Rules Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, the chair notes the presence of a quorum for actions taken on all committee business today. And with that, that's 3.5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
You're gonna, hey, Graves, I was just gonna announce the record,
I know you were.
but
I'm getting ready to screw that
I'll
up.
hold back and let you speak to Mr.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I appreciate the 3rd final markup that you've had in your tenure. I do want to say how much I appreciate your service and leadership to this committee and to this Congress. And speaking for hundreds of thousands of folks from Louisiana, some of the efforts just this year in regard to aviation bill, in regard to disaster reform recovery bill, and water resources bill. Mr. Chairman, the changes that in law that you, and let's be clear, and you're well aware of this because these things wouldn't have happened without you. We ran into multiple roadblocks, particularly in the disaster bill. Mr. Chairman, I can't overstate how much lives are going to be changed as a result of your work just this year, not to mention all the years that you put in prior, not to mention the sacrifice that you went through with your father's service. And certainly you stood on his shoulders through the incredible work that you did, the better voting records that you have, the more accomplishments. But very sincerely, I just want to thank you on behalf of hundreds of thousands of people in South Louisiana that have benefited from your service, from your leadership to this committee, to this Congress. And I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you. Wish you the best.
Appreciate your kind words, and just want to say on many of those bills, especially disaster relief, if it wasn't for your efforts, your prodding, your pushing, your stubbornness at times, we wouldn't have got there. So thank you for all that. Ms. Johnson.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I want to associate myself with the remarks of the previous speaker and to say, substitute Texas for Louisiana. But other than that, I want to thank you for your leadership, for leading this group in a bipartisan manner, much like your father. And I know that you want to stand alone, and you do, because you've been a very good chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Dr. Babin?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And she beat me to it, Eddie Bernice, thank you. I just wanted to echo exactly what the gentleman from Louisiana said, and just put Texas behind that as well. Thank you so much, because we got the national, North American rainfall record is in southeast Texas now, so unfortunately, we appreciate that with Hurricane Harvey.
Are you blaming that on him?
No, I just want to say thank you for helping us bail it.
Thank you very much. Well, with all those kind words, I think I'm going to announce a markup next week. Staff, figure out something we can mark up before we leave here. No. Again, thank you, one and all. I really believe that the committee's work can only be done with all the members putting partisanship aside and trying to work for what's best for the country. And it just so happens transportation infrastructure lends itself to bipartisan work. And again, it's been one of my great honors to be able to chair this committee. And again, working with all you fine people. And I wish you all the best. Chairman DeFazio is not, or Chairman-elect DeFazio is not here, but I wish him the best. And again, there's a lot to be done on infrastructure, and I hope we see an infrastructure bill move forward in the 116th Congress, I guess it'll be. So with that being said, again, thank you all very much. And this is 7.5 minutes. I broke the record by 20 minutes. So with that, the committee stands adjourned.